Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Chepe, let's start with this, man. 2023, your rookie year in the UFC. It's kind of weird to say, right? Rookie year in
Yeah.
the UFC. But, you had your rookie year, 2-0. How do you feel about everything that transpired that year?
I feel good, man. I feel like the hard work kind of paid off to like getting me in the UFC at the right time. I felt like when I was younger, in my younger 20s, I was making, mature and professional decisions. And, I got to a point where I had to make those professional decisions and it led me to the UFC.
Yeah, do you see that a lot nowadays that fighters are going into the UFC getting signed too early and they get burned out?
Yeah, man, for sure, dude. Like I think things happened to me for a reason because like I think it would have been too soon for me for the UFC. Like I've seen it on other fighters, but I've seen some fighters, experience the UFC, get cut, then go do some work in other promotions and then come back. So, like I see the UFC gives a lot of people some tries, but it takes, that fighter to go out there and really chase it.
Yeah, and it's very rare too, man. Some fighters get their third chance. I think Julio Rosa is on his third stint with the UFC right now. So, you know what I mean? But it's very rare. The percentage is not very high to return after you've been signed, right?
For sure, man, for sure.
Your first two fights in the UFC, man, you fought two tough guys in two different weight classes. I think people forgot about that. I think they forgot that you fought two different weight classes, defeated both of them. What did those performances say about your level of talent, do you think?
To be honest, I feel like I still had evolved those nights. Being in the big screens, being in the big leagues. I haven't experienced 60,000 people booing at me. So it was a lot to readjust, and we got ready mentally before all these fights. And yeah, man, I felt like I fought other people that they haven't fought, so I have the experience a little on the edge. I feel like I have that dog that a lot of people don't think I have, So, um, yeah, I've learned to clean it up and get through those two fights and really build a lot more confidence in that and be like, man, I really do belong in here.
The mental approach, is that something that you work with somebody on, or do you work with it on your own? How do you
So
approach it?
I work on it with like my partner and my cornerman. We sit down and talk. It's all about communication, and finding the right definition of my goals. The things that I'm really chasing for. So I got a good team on my back. The get me ready for all those booing situations, tough weight cut, traveling overseas for a fight. But I really wanted to show everybody like I'm here to fight. I love fighting whoever, wherever, and yeah.
You've shown it, man. And right now you're on a 5-fight win streak. But before that, in 2020, you had lost back-to-back fights and then had a long layoff after that. What was
Mhm.
that time period like for you?
I feel like there was still a lot of growing up that I had to do. Not physically or like spiritually. It was like a mental thing. I think I was a little too worried to win those fights and make it to the UFC. I felt like, man, am I ready? Am I ready for all these other top contenders? Am I a top contender? I started second questioning myself and where I shouldn't. I've been seasoned. I'm a weathered fighter. I'm a veteran. I've been doing this for since I was 6 years old. Made it a dream. I'm now living it, and I just feel like I'm there. I'm there to show everybody who I am, the example that I am, and get yeah, just try to show who Chepe Machine Gun is.
What were the changes that you made during that time?
Uh, a lot of mental things. Like I had so before getting signed to the UFC, my mother passed away from breast cancer. So I went through this huge numbness. I couldn't like I was training but not feeling, and not really intaking the knowledge that I was working on, and um, so I feel like a lot of things uh, yeah, like so I had to just readjust some things like maturely. You know, like I had to like, hey, like you got to train this way. You got to talk to people about certain situations. You know, they'll get mad at days when sometimes you're the hammer or the nail. You know, the nail or the hammer. Like I had to go through all these things to really readjust and talk to somebody. You know, I was big on holding things in and not communicating. You know, try to do my own thing, train. Show everybody, you know, I'm a fighter, you know, but I wasn't showing people that I'm a human, you know, and that's what I was trying to hide. And I was covering it up when it was really a thing that was affecting me in my career, you know, like when I got to that point. So then, you know, I talked to my coaches. I started talking more with my partner. We seen a therapist. You know, like I try to get little things readjust mentally because I was like, man, physically I could do it. You know, I have great cardio. I've been doing this forever. I'm seasoned. Like, what is it? You know, and you know, I found out through other great athletes, like it's good to go see these specialists. So my partner, and me, we got down to talking things out, and my coaches too, and my other. So I have like 3 other coaches that communicate with me. Um, yeah, and we just make sure everything else well now because it was tough at that time. You know, like I was like, oh, it's easy to say than do. You know, but then I started having faith, hope, and continuing having this positive energy and trying to get out of this hole, and then you know perform at the best level I can.
Is it more of like taking the loss and getting over it, or is it taking the loss and turning it into fuel?
Turning into fuel for sure, man. Like every little situation, you know, like I seen that sometimes you got to be that one that shows the family, the people, like man, things like this happen, but you have to be the one that continue on, you know. And I felt like me continuing on, like I had a fight back home for LFA main event, and that was the hardest thing. Like I was more hurt of if I win, how would I feel after the fight, not seeing my mom there and everybody else, you know. So like I was worried of all this other pain that I couldn't control. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna try to control things that I can't control. I'm just gonna take it how it is and readjust and do the best I can, you know, for myself.
And you've done beautifully, man. You've made the right adjustments, and now you're heading into your third fight with the UFC April 6th. Morgan Charriere. Thoughts on him and his fighting style?
Man, I feel like he's a younger version of me. You know, he's fought everywhere else. He's a judo black belt. You know, he has this similar resume. You know, and that's why I love it. He does the red hair. I did the red hair. I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, it was excitement for me. Obviously, I threw my name in earlier this year in to get a fight. You know, 6 months way too long for me. I like staying busy, so I was like, hey, short notice, whatever. So that's why this fight, when it came up, you know, on my doorstep, I was like, yeah, let's go. You know, like I got what, a month to get ready. Cool. Like, and I've been getting ready with other fighters' camps. You know, there's other UFC fighters that are in camp for big fights coming up. So I've been in their camp, then readjusting and help and sharpening up my stuff. So now for my fight.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it's so important for fighters to be involved in other fighters' camps. Some fighters really don't get involved too much, but other fighters are really invested in their teammates. I feel like you're one of those guys.
Yeah, man, I've always been because I don't know, the best athletes I've always stayed around there. Like even if I got my ass kicked and they were like, you know, I was the bottom of the whole team. Like I was always in there. I was like, you know what, I can't beat you now, but I'm gonna beat you later. You know, and that's how it got to. You know, like me and Justin Gaethje, a bunch of other UFC fighters, just like, you know, we grew that bondage. We're like, hey man, we're trying to get each other, but we're still, you know, cool. You know.
For sure. And you said 6 months, man. After those performances, I didn't expect 6 months between fights. But did you do any like training outside of your team, or did you go travel anywhere during that time?
Nah, man, I really try to like stay busy and next to the call, you know, just in case anything blew up. Especially after those 2 performances, I was like, hey, man, maybe they're gonna keep me busy. You know, I'm gonna stay in shape. I'm gonna do what I can. to be, to never say no. I don't want to be the no guy. There's a lot of no guys, and I kind of want to be yes, but in a responsible way too. Like if I was injured or anything else was going on, if I wasn't, mentally, spiritually, physically good, maybe I know, but it's rare. It's rare on my end. I'm always a yes guy and whoever and win and yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, man. And in training camp, you said you were involved in other fighters' camps. Of course, Justin Gaethje is in camp. Who else was in camp that you helped them out with?
Well, the like Drew Dober, who just got done, he's a guy who's now coming back into the room, working, well, helping us out. There's other guys in other promotions who are getting ready. I got to be able to go spar with Corey Sandhagen, who moves amazing. If you watch him. So yeah, there's like a lot of guys. Like I can't be very specific because it's like my rounds are very Justin Gaethje rounds, and then guys who fight for other promotions, and they're very picked for my opponent. They're really picked. Like the Gaethje round's a different round. That's for me and him. But like the coach has got my other rounds picked for the specific opponent that I'm fighting for. So my rounds are picked even before I even spar. So they're like, hey, you're going with him, him, him. You're gonna take a break, do some cardio. Now you're going with him, and then that like they keep me busy. So it's like, man, I can't say it's just those guys. I could say it's my whole team. Whoever wants to be involved, like they jump in. Like, hey, can I get around with Chepe? Cool, let's go. Yeah, man, we got a good team where people want to be in each other's camps right now, and it's really it's going down very smooth, and I get different looks. There's different sizes. Even the shorter guys, different speeds, different techniques. So it's cool to get all this mix. And yeah, man, obviously the Gaethje rounds are the ones I remember because I feel like I'm in survival instinct mode. I'm trying to get him, he's trying to get me, So that was the one that really pops out because I watch our rounds all the time and try to get all the good and then fix the bad that I did in those rounds. And yeah, man, it's cool, evolving with these other guys and stuff like that. And it depends, there's a lot of guys who like to stay to themselves, have their own camps,
Okay.
do a specific way, like or train with that one training partner. It is what it is, but that's why I'm glad that we have a team with a lot of other guys that are down to train and even the other, superstars to allow me to, give them a couple rounds.
Definitely. And the training at elevation, like training up in such high, elevation, like do you have to do the extra cardio? Because it's like you're doing it just by training.
Yeah, I feel like the extra cardio don't hurt. Like even going to walk here is some cardio, some kind of work. Like if you're from here or you've been to Colorado, like man, the mountains. I've had friends come like for a 2-day trip, but they slept all 2 days because the altitude, like altitude sickness, all this stuff. So it's a lot of readjusting when you get it to this kind of altitude. But the training is awesome. Like I feel like a monster at sea level. When I went to Australia, I was like, oh shit. Like I felt so like, man, like all the warm ups, everything. I was like, damn, this is gonna be easy, and you can see in my 2 fights, I never go to the stall tired, So I feel like okay, we got the conditioning part pretty good, and I learned how to like shut my breathing down a little bit so I could hear the coaching during the round, the end of the round. So hearing, okay, what do I got to do to defeat him? That's how I like to look at it as a video game. Like I'm player one, like, hey, give me the game plan, how to beat him, and we'll go try it out. And if it don't work, then shit, I'm jumping ship, and then trying my stuff. So yeah, man, it's just yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It gets very, you have to have a lot of strategy now in this game. The game has evolved, and a lot of people, even a lot of people like to say, or MMA fighters like to say, we're in the young man business. Where all the guys in their 20s, they're coming up, but the guys in their 30s, keep them in check. We got the experience, we got the knowledge, we've done the seasoning part. So now it's to, solid everything else out and leave a name in the game.
Yeah, you make a good point about being in the corner and obviously fighters are tired between rounds, right? And then controlling your breathing so you can hear them, because I think sometimes fighters are so tired that they don't even hear like what the coaches are saying, and they could be screaming at them, and
Dude,
next thing you know
sometimes the
that.
guy is breathing too much too. I even hold my own breath so I could stop to like hear a little bit of him, but more of my corner. So I'll be like, oh, okay, like they're actually saying this, because sometimes like I even caught myself where I'm breathing, he's breathing, I'm like, damn, I can't hear shit. I can't. What are they saying? Like, and then I would like calm down my breathing, and then and then I would have to pick out their voice, especially in a crowd. And this was gonna be cooler just at the Apex, so I could hear my corner for sure. I know his corner is gonna be speaking French or whatever, but that's what makes it even funner. It's like, oh, I don't know what the hell they're saying. They maybe know a little bit of what I'm saying, but it's end of the day, it's the fight.
Yeah, what are your expectations for this fight? How do you want to extend your winning streak in the Apex?
Well, I definitely want to finish, man. I even told people were like a little like, oh man, that's a little scary to fight at the Apex. Maybe you get stuck there. I was like, hey man, shit, I'll be the new Apex king, whatever, but my choices are to obviously get these finishes, man. The UFC is a finished business. You have to get these finishes, and I know he's thinking the same thing, and we both have a good resume of finishes and a big resume of fights. So it's gonna be a banger, man.
All right, man. It is going to be a banger. One last question. You're in camp with Justin Gaethje, the BMF title, Max Holloway. What's your prediction on that one?
I think Gaethje really finishes, Max. Max is tough. I'm not gonna say he's nothing special. He's obviously something special. He's never been finished in the UFC, but I've never seen him flash knock out anybody. I haven't seen him, really hurt somebody where they're like their eyes. You can tell, like, hey, right, yeah, that guy obviously was, finished, And then you see Gaethje's videos. He's hurting dudes that are heavier, bigger. A little more of the, the power game. Like there's Dustin Poirier where he readjusted even in that second fight. He readjusted and came out very well. So I feel like he's even evolving. He knows he has to readjust some of these things, and I do too. Like I used to be a berserker. I used to go out there, guns blazing. Now I'm starting to pick my shots, use a grown man strategy. Go out there, get a little clean, go home to the family, and get in time for dinner.
Yeah, like that head kick knockout. You never really seen him throw head kicks, and then all of a sudden, one of the biggest fights of his career.
Gym, like I was like, bro, what the fuck? You threw it at him, but not like I was like, that was wild. Like he blew our and come on, like I was there like a student, like, all right, he's gonna do this, that, and fuck, bro, he blew my mind. He did everything total opposite of what I was gonna think of what they were doing. But yeah, man, game plan is very important.
Definitely. That was the chef's kiss, man. That head kick, it was beautiful. April 6th, man, we're gonna see some violence in the Apex, man. Chepe, thank you so much for the time, and all the best in the fight coming up.
For sure, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.